Welcome to the Growth and Banter podcast. My name is Blake McCullough, CEO and founder of GMS Media Group, Australia's leading digital marketing agencies. This podcast is for anyone looking to learn the insights and strategies of industry leaders and how to lead a successful life. Today, we're joined by my good friend Daniel Hakim, CEO and founder of CUB United Business, Australia's premium and largest network for business owners and entrepreneurs. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you.
This is our third podcast together.
I know. I'm sick of talking to you, to be honest.
Well, they say good things happen in three, so this is clearly going to be our best one yet.
Yeah. Well, our last one we just spoke about personal
Well, we
stuff
caught
all the
up, and
time.
that's what the premise of your podcast is, catching up with
Yeah.
CUB, right?
You know how you're busy? When you catch up with your friends in podcast episodes.
Yeah,
That's
fully.
the only chance you get to meet with them.
That's so true. Sad but true. But, mate, 10 years. It's been that long since I first met you. And that was the start of CUB. Well, 9 years for me, but 10 years for you, back in 2016. And I've told the story a lot, but hearing it on the other side of the table, because I think there's a really cool story to tell. And I know you've probably told it a million times before, but there wasn't a market for what you've done with CUB in Australia at that point. I know there's a big appetite for business networking and clubhouses in, London, Soho, New York, America. But you at your age, how old were you? 23?
23.
23. I was 26. I thought I was old then, but we're both very, very young. And witnessing what you've done with CUB, now becoming what is now Australia's biggest and largest and best business networking for entrepreneurs and business owners in Australia. 4 locations: Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. Just opened up Parramatta last week. Mm-hmm. And then helping you guys with marketing, seeing it grow from the start to what it is now. There's lots to unpack here today, but I would love to start off and just get your insight into Daniel as a 23-year-old. How did you find the niche and the demand for that market at the time?
Well, I think what you said was correct. There wasn't a market in Australia for members clubs. It wasn't a popular thing. People didn't even understand the concept of a members club. People used to think we're a co-working space, and in some ways we kind of were at the start a little bit, only because we were trying to figure ourselves out. But by no means did we come in and start with a strict plan, and we knew what our strategy was, what our business model was, what we were going to do, and we executed it flawlessly. That's just not. To be honest, I don't think any business ever has like that. That's the holy grail. But I certainly, that wasn't the case for me. I think for us, what we did was we started and we took a big commitment. The first space wasn't a super expensive space. It was just outside of King's Cross.
But it was the best.
Restaurant. It was the best. It was the best. But anyway, it wasn't like we committed. We started basically, and when we started, the original concept was to be a members club like you'd find overseas, but for young business people. I was 23 at the time. I had just moved back from overseas, and I wanted to meet other business owners. I wasn't a business owner at the time. I had just failed a restaurant actually, so I was a failed business owner. I just wanted to meet I wanted to meet people like you, and thank God I did.
Likewise.
But so I launched CUB. The price was only $300 a month, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And we just started selling memberships like hotcakes. There was no networking at that time even. It was a members club. So it was just a space.
Go in and do your best.
Yeah, it was kind of, if you're in, we'll introduce you to someone, but other than that, you're not. And so it was actually more like the other members clubs overseas. Had a bar, had a little, remember we had a chef?
Yes.
So there was a few things that happened. The first is I looked at who was actually joining, and the people that were actually joining weren't at the majority young people like me or us. They were there as well, but people who were joining were more established than us at the time.
Absolutely.
They were a little bit older than us. They weren't old, but they were older than us. And I was selling a lot of memberships myself, just bang, bang, signing them up. So I'd asked them, I said, and they'd sign up quick. So I asked them, I said, why'd you join? And they all said the same thing, which is, I want to meet other people in the same position. And I quickly realized that the very small, like very early stage businesses, particularly at that time, had a lot of free community and networking, like meetup.com or their co-working spaces or their startup incubators and hubs. And
there was a lot of that.
There was at that time it was booming. That was like the startup thing was hot as fuck at that point.
Yeah, it was.
And then the really like the really big businesses or the really wealthy people, they don't want a network. They already have a network. Everyone wants to meet them. Yeah, they'll pay not to meet anyone. But what was happening was it was the middle. It was the businesses that had achieved a certain amount of success, but they still hadn't accomplished their ultimate ambitions. And they wanted to meet others in the same position who were also looking to grow. So, and they happened at the majority to be older than me and you at the time.
You'd like to think so.
Yeah. So what I realized was that, well, we're a premium product. We have to differentiate from the other cheap or free communities. So the price went to, it slowly went up. It went, I think it was $300 per month, $600 per month, $800 per month, $7,000, $10,000
per year.
Per year, yeah. So the price slowly went up because we were getting more and more premium. And to be honest, our price is going to $11,000 for new members next year because we get better and better at doing what we do. The other thing we realized was that people weren't here for they weren't there for the same reason you join international members clubs for like access to bars and restaurants and hospitality. They really were there to meet other people in the same position. And they'd say that to me. I'm here to meet others in the same position. And so I knew at the start, I said, okay, we're a networking business. People want to network. And so then that's how we became like Australia's most premium networking club or community or experience.
Yeah. And that experience from overseas that you had before you moved back and started CUB in Potts Point, how pivotal was that to see the cultural dynamic of how businesses interact with each other overseas before coming back here?
Oh, it was essential. It's the reason CUB exists. Yeah. A, I had exposure to members clubs. I thought they were cool. But B, I grew up overseas. I went to an international school because my old man wanted me to have a strong network and meet the right people. And he came from nothing.
He had the foresight.
He didn't have he didn't have any of that, and so he knew how important that was. And so I went to a school where everybody was families of business, politics, or even like a lot of Arab royals and things like that. So I had I knew what network. I knew the benefits. I had them and I could see them. And so I wanted to, and so eventually, so I didn't know this consciously. Like I wasn't sitting there at the start of CUB being like, what I figured out is in my life, that wasn't, the point I'm trying to make is that I just started and then I saw what worked. So I wanted young people. Okay, we didn't get 20-year-old business owners at the majority. They were 35 to 45. I think the median age at CUB currently is like 41 or something. So I made it for that. I made it more premium for them. I made the services better for them. It was premium, so the price wasn't $300 or paid monthly. It was upfront, and it became $10,000.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there with like your old man knew that the importance of surrounding you and putting in environments that's then going to cultivate your later experience, right? And like as everyone says, you're the sum of the people you surround yourself with in an environment, whether that is the school you go to, whether that is the place you grow up, or whether that is the network you have socially. And I think that's a big essence of the power of CUB, is that a lot of business owners, it's a lonely path, entrepreneurship. And I think even back in the day, more so than now, there wasn't that online connection. So entrepreneurship for me in the beginning, when I sort of quit my university and then graduate jobs, working full time, then starting to consult with my business and finding CUB was a release for me to have that cultural dynamic that you wouldn't otherwise have if you're working at a cafe or working in a co-working space potentially. But this had a different vibe to it.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, I'm fairly certain it's statistically proven out of some study. I can't remember the study, but it basically, the study showed that whatever your community is was the number one predictor of your success.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, and they were doing it mostly in relation to like where you lived or grew up, because where you're spending most time is your community, and that. So who you surround yourself with is the most important factor, more than anything else, whether it be having mentors or money or anything else. Who you surround yourself with is the biggest indicator of your success. It's the number one thing that will make your chances of succeeding higher. And that's for anything. That's not just business. Like, if you want to be the best biologist, well, you better go hang out with all the other best biologists. You know, like, it's just that I like business owners, and I want business owners to succeed. And I personally believe business owners are the most important and most productive humans in society. And they're the ones that I wanted to back. So I wanted to create a platform and a community, a club that fueled people's success, and did so in the very simple form of giving them the right network, allowing them the situation, putting them in the right environment to build genuine relationships like mine and yours. That makes us stronger. I'm a better business person because of you, not just because you make us lots of money on a monthly basis because you do our marketing.
That's just me. That's it.
But yeah, just you as a friend.
Yeah.
Actually, how many people have you said good things about CUB to, or good things about me to?
It's ridiculous.
How many people have I sent your way?
Yeah.
How many times have we caught up and spoken about business, whether it even just be casual or on the phone, whatever it is? Like,
yeah, insane.
That's valuable. Now, if you have, and I do because of CUB, dozens of friends like you, there's no situation you're ever lost in. Someone can help you, someone can support you, someone knows the right person for you to talk to, someone's done that before. And all CUB did was make the process of networking enjoyable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no one liked to network. Networking sucked.
Yeah.
Sucks.
For sure.
At the large majority.
And
we just made it good.
And there's been a stigma as well. I think there was a stigma in Australia, and you're right. Like, when we were helping with your marketing back in the day, the comments were, is this a men's club? Like, what's this about?
Yeah.
You know, there was no, like, we don't have that business culture here like the international markets do. That stigma, I feel, is getting broken down. And I feel that could be attested to the digital revolution. You know, like 10 years ago, when you think about it, we didn't have the ability to be able to communicate the way we do online today. You know, there wasn't videos, there wasn't reels, there wasn't TikTok, there wasn't all this stuff where we're able to get our point across really easily. But the stigma and that getting broken down, and then now I think people being more receptive to it in Australia. What do you think has been the biggest breakthrough with CUB's resilience? And I think now, you know, positioning CUB as more of a premium network and people being more receptive to it versus, I guess, the struggle at the point trying to tell that story and people just not understanding what it is. Like, what do you feel that single breakthrough was?
Oh, it was time. It was just time.
Time
it was
and market.
Time and performance.
Yeah.
There is no denying CUB is good and works because it's grown so much every year. When we started, you're right. Remember, everyone thought we were a men's club, even though at the start we had more women.
All the comments we got on all the ads.
We're always men's club, men's club.
What is this? Ponzi scheme.
But that was because that's people associated CUB to the other members clubs in Australia, which were all men's clubs.
Yeah, right.
So we were just associated. CUB, because it was the first mover in terms of the next generation of leadership community, we literally changed the landscape of leadership communities in Australia. And now, like this year alone, how many communities are launching? Oh, we're this business club, this business thing. Like, all these communities are now launching, and they're only launching because they can see, oh, wow, look at CUB. It's worked really well. It's doing well. And not just that, but okay, business communities and clubs work. It's a good thing that they're all launching because the more clubs and communities, the better. But sometimes to be the first mover is the hardest path. You're the first person walking through the jungle. So you got to dodge the lions and the snakes and build the bridges and do all that type of thing. But when you get there, you're the first mover. You're the biggest, you're the best, you have the most experience, and everyone else that comes after you, they're just the others. They're the Pepsi to your Coke. You know, they're the Burger King to your Macca's. So and you earned that because you had to walk through the fire to get there. And so when you're doing something truly innovative in business, And it's really hard and not working, because CUB didn't just go bang, work straight away. There was a lot of, like, for the first 5 years, I was having doubts, and there were things going wrong. And I reckon I count CUB's first year ever as 2019. That was the first year I was like, okay, maybe I'm doing good. You know?
Yeah, when it's starting to get the legs.
It started in 2015.
But I think also, like, and again, I'm not in other networks. I don't think there is many like CUB, but
Trader.
you've
Sorry, anti-trader.
Anti-trader, yeah, other way around, mate. You've been really hands-on, and I think you've had that sense of care as well. It's not just creating a facility and locations and clubhouses where people can interact, and an online platform that people can communicate with. It's at a point now where it is more hands-off for you, but over the past decade, I've seen you've had a sense of care and a ruthlessness of understanding all the businesses that you're bringing into the network, but also continuing to support and harvest that. And I think that's been something that's filtered from the top down with all of your staff and everything you do within the team culture.
Yeah, well, I mean, what you're describing, I think, is implementing operational processes that allow you to replicate what you do personally.
That's right.
Within the business. And I mean, for a business owner to provide the experience they want to every client, you need to create processes of which you can teach staff members to do that create the value that you would be creating yourself. And we did that very well, but it took a long time. Like, CUB's 10 years old. That's a third of my life. I've been doing the same thing every single day, the same project for almost a third of I'm 33. So for almost a third of my life.
Still young, mate.
So that's the question. It's like you want to constantly make yourself redundant. And you want to make what you're currently doing redundant, so that someone else below you can take what you're currently doing and also make what they were doing redundant, so someone else can take, not what they were doing redundant, them redundant doing it. And that way you as the business owner are always moving to the next most important thing. And then every time you move up, the other layer of business moves up. And then what you have is your team are constantly progressing. And when your team are progressing, they stay. They never leave because they're happy, they're progressing, their thing. And that only happens by focusing on delivering your client's value, because you have to create the processes of which enable that to happen with team members, not yourself. And constantly looking at the business's strategy moving forwards, which is like, what are the most important strategic moves we as a business can make to further secure our success? So like, for us, it's entering new markets. And so I don't do anything at CUB anymore, not because it's not the most important thing. It still is the actual most important thing, because it's the biggest part of the business currently. But the most important thing for me to do was to enter new markets, which is why we now operate our early stage business community, which is a very large national community of businesses who want a premium networking experience but aren't eligible to CUB yet. It's an amazing business in its own. Which is majority of people out there, right? Yeah. And then we have BOA, Business Owners App, which honestly is kicking ass right now. Not financially. Financially, it costs a lot of money. But it's kicking ass in terms of being the best way for every business. It's basically ensuring every business owner in the country, no matter where you are or what stage of business you're at, has access to high quality networking that you actually look forward to. Yeah. And so those are the problems I'm working on at the moment. And you built the classic pyramid model, right? Like, not scheme model. No, not definitely not pyramid scheme. But in terms of the amount of small businesses out there in the world, 90% are under $1 million. So that 90, sort of 94%. 94%. Wow, yeah. So a lot of business owners are in that early stage. So it is all of them. Literally all of them. Literally. So you've sort of mastered that middle sort of gap there of, business owners wanting to connect, without going straight to the top. And then now you're cultivating that sort of entry point. So then you've got that whole new market to fish with for BOA. And when you think about business, like, I like to think of it as like an ecosystem. And we want to own networking essentially. So if you're a business owner and you want to meet other business owners, you should be coming through us, not because it's us, because we're the best. And we try to be the best. And so you think of it as like an ecosystem. So, you might start your business, and the first thing you do after you start a business is you join BOA. And on BOA, you get mentorship, you get amazing networking experiences, you can join your local networking chapter, you can send coffee requests to business owners in your area. Like, you can start, and it's free. There's a premium too, but it's free, and it's amazing. And then you might get a little bit bigger. You might be at $400,000 of revenue, and you might think, you know what, I want to take my networking again to that next level. And you join the early stage community that each CUB clubhouse has. And then you hit 1 million, and then, okay, great, I can actually now apply for CUB. And then, so it's, and then even podcasts, like that's part of an ecosystem. For sure. Someone might not even be on BOA, but they listen to the podcast and they're listening. They're part of us. I count them as our community. Yeah, like, that's a good point. I think every business should think, what is my ecosystem? How are people interacting with my brand? And
you've hit the nail on the head there. Every single customer and humans for that matter strives for community.
They need it. Brands, they literally die without it. If you did not have a community and you were living in the jungle when we were evolving, you're fucking dead. You're not maybe dead. You're definitely dead. You're not living. You actually need it. We're designed to
are dependent.
Need it. We look for someone to have babies with. We care about our children and our babies, and then we need extended family to help care for them. And these are all natural. It sounds stupid, but we're designed to do that because that's how we're best able to survive.
Yep.
So if you want to survive in business, you need a business family.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. And community is the number one thing that a customer will look for in order to buy into that story, right? So look at e-commerce. Like, it was so, we've had a speed up of the digital sort of world, I feel, through 2020. And prior to that, it was a lot of purely online engagement. I think now we've sort of gone back to a bit more of a humanized touch. And it's funny seeing CUB go from, in person to then purely online to then now a hybrid of the two. So we're now in a world, I feel today, where we've got the ability to understand how to communicate online, build online communities, but also customers and people are looking for that human touch again. And that's why a lot of brands are going out, they're doing activations, they're doing events. A lot of e-commerce products are now having to, actually have the feel and touch components of the business. And I feel that that's where the best of both worlds have collided today.
Yeah.
And I'm sure after 2020 lockdowns for COVID, during COVID, has completely changed the trajectory of what CUB does today.
I think it made people realize that you're able to do things digitally as well. No one likes digital better than in person. Like maybe 2% of the population likes digital stuff better than in person, but it's still a powerful tool to use. Like, in my opinion, for networking anyway, in person is the way to go. Like, you're not building a friendship with someone unless you're sitting with them. But it doesn't mean you can't add additional value through digital. And like, some businesses are all digital. For example, like if you're an e-commerce business, well, that's primarily a digital experience. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't have some elements of in-person experience, or that there isn't an in-person experience. Like, for example, when someone receives your package, and the experience of receiving that package. So I think businesses need to really think about what is both the digital and the in-person experience of my business. One of them will be more important than the other, but doesn't mean the other one should be non-existent or shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, COVID did some weird shit.
It did.
COVID did some weird stuff.
I think we're seeing like the silver lining out of it now, where I think in the beginning it was like, okay, what's going to happen here? I think some businesses benefited, others didn't, but it's the recalibration phase is what I call it at the moment. But going into, I'm sure there's so many lessons you've got over the last 10 years and, the ebbs and flows of business and, being so young and starting the business to now 33, still very young. I can see CUB on that trajectory. You got Mark Boris and some fantastic people around you with both CUB and BOA. What's been the hardest challenge for you over the time?
Oh, I think the hardest challenge is the start of the first 5 years of business.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah. COVID was like, maybe it was challenging personally, mentally to crack the code, to figure out how to take a fully in-person company to make it survive a digital time. But it wasn't hard. Like, it was fun, actually. The first 5 years of business are what's hard. And I think that's for every business. Like, because you have no money. and you're not good at business yet, and you don't know what your business really is yet.
So true.
You know, and like it's just about dedicating. Like if you were to start a business, the best way to be successful is to not care what you actually end up doing or who you end up serving or whatever, as long as you're passionate about it. You know, that's important, because if you're not passionate about it, you'll give up eventually, because it is hard. So you have to enjoy it. But if you just said, okay, I'm starting a business, and no matter what, I'm dedicating 5 years of my life to doing nothing on a daily basis except for focusing on this business. If you just do that and give yourself 5 years, in 5 years' time, you will have created a good business. You know what I mean? And that was the hardest point for me. Like at the start,
the resilience.
Sorry, you know what the hardest part was? I just realized of that 5 years is building a team.
Yeah,
that's the hardest part.
People management.
It's finding good people.
Finding good talent.
Because not just you have to find them, but to really operate as a cohesive team, you need to have very strong relationships and trust. And you need to find people that are elite at what they do better than you at doing it. And that takes a long time. And you're also juggling this weird balance of, well, I need the most amazing people, but I have no money. So how can I get the most amazing people? You know, which means that the first people you get, you don't get them amazing, you build them amazing. Like they join you, they've got potential. And I mean, at that point, you're not even good enough to build them. You just hope that they're the type of person.
Yeah, there's no structure there. You're sort of just like relying on them to figure it out as well.
But, you know, I could tell you CUB's each success milestone came when each additional team member joined the team. You know, like Anthony was the first. And then Laura. And then Mark, and then Alice made a huge difference, and then Calvin and Holly, and like, and I mean now we've got a 35 people,
and all of which you've just mentioned that are still with you, and you know,
we actually lost, so we've had 100% staff retention for 5 years, and in the past week we lost our first person.
Oh no!
I know, I was so devastated. I was very happy for them. Like it was it was the right decision.
But an amicable departure.
Oh yeah, totally. No, it was totally amicable. But still fucked up my stat. Like I was bragging. Now I'm got to touch.
But that's what I want to touch on as well. Like the fact that you've built this not only amazing culture for members to go and interact with, but the team that you've built, where members can go up to anybody and feel like they're supported. There's surely a bit of a science and an art there. And I know I'm a big believer in, like, you need to have the right systems and processes in place for the talent to grow the business. Like, it's all good and well having great talent, but being able to replicate someone who's really great in a field and then being able to replicate that in another area and then continuing to do that without the right systems can be chaos. So sometimes it's like, what comes first, great talent or systems? I think there is obviously a time and place in that, but how have you managed to build such a great team and continue to do that, particularly now with 4 locations?
Well, I fired a lot of people. Just you had to find the right people. But,
early on,
but just into what comes first, great talent or great systems. I think great systems are more important. If I'm to think back, there were people that I had to fire or who didn't work out at CUB who would have today.
Yeah. That's a good point.
We failed them, not they failed us.
I've
failed
had that
them.
Same experience.
I failed them. And so I think, like, when you hire a role and you don't have a strict operation system for them, this is what you do, this is how you do it, and this is what you need to achieve by doing that, they're almost set up to fail. Like, occasionally you'll get like an Alice or an Anthony, who they didn't need.
But they're an anomaly.
They're very rare. You hope you find them, but they're very rare.
Yeah.
And
you can't rely on that. You can't just rely on talent to fix the problem if there's no systems.
No, yeah. And then outside of that, having a good team culture. And look, I like to think we have a good team culture, and we have definitely a very high staff retention. So at the whole, people really don't leave CUB. I just think that's really easy, and it comes down to just being a good person yourself. Two things, being a good person and being someone that they trust to lead their future. Because if they're progressing, so they feel like they're growing as a person, they feel important, and they feel, and the team environment is like a supportive one, like they're friends and they like each other, it's very hard for them to leave. Because if someone gives them more money, They could come to you and say, hey, listen, I've got this offer. I really don't want to take it, but I'm just letting you know I got this offer. And if you think they're worth more, then you can pay them more. They normally are. But they won't leave, because if they leave, they're like, oh, okay, but this company has a good future. They like me. They trust me. I'm progressing. If I leave, I might take more money now. But what happens if the economy collapses and I lose my job? What happens if I don't like the people I work with and I've lost my team? I think business owners should think of you've got this incredible opportunity to be the third community to your team. So, for example, every team member will have, in theory, will have their family. Every team member will have their friends, and every team member has their work community, right? Their work team.
And you're there 5 days a week.
You're with your work team more than you're with your family and friends, and I would argue your family and friends. There's more chaos in those regions. You have fights with friends, horrible things happen within your family that cause stress. So as a business owner, you have the opportunity to create a really stable, prosperous environment for each of your team members. And if that environment truly is that, then it becomes like a safe haven for them.
Absolutely.
Within life. And that's deeper than being a job. That's like, it's not a job. I'm part of a team, and we're on a mission to create a better life for ourselves by creating some incredible value to whoever we're serving. So whatever the company's mission is.
And it comes back down to community. And they say that people who leave organizations isn't typically because of money. It's because they don't have a good relationship with their manager, or their manager's just not a great leader. So it comes down to, do they believe in the story that's getting fed to them? Do they trust that their leader is going to get them to that North Star?
That's the big one.
That's probably the biggest one. And then, of course, there is the financial, might not even be a financial incentive there, but some sort of remuneration that's going to drive them, because not everyone is incentivized by money.
Yeah, I actually think most people aren't. I mean, it's important to everybody, but I think most people first and foremost want to feel special.
They need enough to survive 100%, but yeah,
and the future prospect of fulfilling the life that they want. So not everyone wants to be a billionaire, right? Some people just want really nice, beautiful, humble lives where I can have a family in a nice house and my kids go to good schools. That's most people, actually. So it's about business is a vehicle to get you and your team wherever anyone wants to go. So your business needs to get you where you want to go. And your team needs to know, okay, this business can get me where I want to be in life.
Yeah,
it's a vehicle to get me there. Or if not there, on the further closer to where I'm supposed to be. The second they feel that this vehicle isn't taking me in the right direction, they will jump.
Yeah.
They will open the door and they'll dive straight out.
It's exactly how I look at it, and how I have looked at it in the past 8 years and a vehicle needs maintenance. You need to service it. You need to get new wheels. You need to get an oil change. These are necessary things for that vehicle to stay alive and continue to function to get you from A to B.
And sometimes the vehicle changes directions. And if it were to change directions or destination, sometimes not everyone in the car wants to go in that direction. So it's actually a good thing that they leave. It's not a bad thing. It's most of the time I have found, actually, when someone resigns, definitely when you fire people, but most of the time, like 99% of the time, when someone resigns, it's good for the business. They should have resigned. Yeah. It was the right move. Not that they're a bad person or you didn't like them or whatever. It's just that the business and them were they weren't in the right vehicle.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
As simple as that.
Yeah, they're on the wrong bus.
Yeah,
and look, that's exactly what we're doing. Like, I know for a fact that if I continue to run the vehicle on a maintenance level and not even properly maintain it, that vehicle is naturally going to wear and tear, So we're going through a whole process of upgrading our vehicle, and not even just like maintaining the existing one, but changing into an entirely new one.
Putting my head putting screens on the bus.
Going from a VW to a Rolls Royce. But yeah, we've utilized this whole community-led and growth by collaboration play, which I think being surrounded by so much networking has allowed me to build my own network with my business, and it'd be injustice to continue to carry my team with me without striving for innovation, change, and growth. And I think a way to do that sometimes is not looking internally, but sometimes looking externally. Yeah. So, we're joining forces with a few key players that we met along the way, and literally getting into a whole new office in a couple of months and creating a whole new brand, and almost like feels like it's going to be a restart. Like, what would we do if we had the time over?
But what a cool feeling! Like,
it's a great feeling.
Restart. Like, you're not restarting, obviously, but
no.
it's kind of like a new journey, like maybe changing vehicles, but you get to do it with your current knowledge, network, and experience. Whereas, like, imagine when you started, how different that was.
Exactly.
Like, imagine how much quicker you can go, or how much further, quicker really, you can go with your current skill. You've upgraded yourself with all this new armor and weapons and things that you've learned over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And now when you're getting on your next journey, you're far better equipped. Like, you're better at business.
Yeah. You're able to tackle new things.
You do have a great network.
Well, mate, it's. I guess I'm just being a bit of a social butterfly.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of people out there.
You're good.
But Sydney's a 1 degree separation. I think that's also another thing, right? As well, like, Australia's a small, tight knit community.
Yeah, but that's all the more reason why being a good person is the most important thing. Like, if someone would say, "What's the most important thing about networking?" Just be a good person.
Oh no, dead set. Because it comes back to bite you if you're not. If you're out there burning bridges, it's going to come back to bite you.
You've just got to be a good person,
Yeah.
and it's literally half the job. 90% of the job is done. Because if people are saying good things about you, and they respect you, then you're in the clear. If someone starts saying, "Oh, I hate that person. They did this, or they're dodgy, or they did that," well,
mate, reputation management is probably like the one key thing I've always tried to uphold, like, I'd rather not bring on a client if it means that we're going to not get results for them, because I'd rather protect my reputation than get a deal across the line, because I feel that's better off long-term than the short-term win.
Yeah. That happens when companies get more established and successful. But at the start, when you're first starting out, you're taking anyone.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, you've got to, once you get enough, you get in the rhythm enough, you can then start. Because a lot of people say like that. It's like, "Oh, I only work with people that I want." And that's true. Like, that does happen.
They're
like,
lying.
CUB literally, no, they're not lying. It's just they've gotten to the point where they can do that.
Yeah, true.
Whereas if you did that at the start, sometimes at the start you're fighting for your life. It's like,
for sure.
I'll take that.
Well, you don't even know who you are.
And
like,
that
I think that's like for a first business point of view, I think, and like, if you actually look at a lot of the successful businesses out there, like a lot of the big brands, it's not their first time in business. Like, they've done other things before, and taking those tools and those vehicles to then create a shiny, amazing brand that has succeeded. It's typically not their first business or their first attempt at it.
Yeah. And Australia doesn't have a good enough culture of celebrating like failing in business and starting again. In America, actually, it's quite celebrated to like, it's not a negative thing for a venture capital firm to look at someone who's failed multiple businesses, because they say, "Oh wow, they've learned a lot," and and it also shows resilience. Unfortunately, in Australia, that's not the case. But I think
we're not geared like that.
Yeah,
here.
I think if most people, I think if you're stronger, you're better. You only fail when you stop doing business.
Yeah,
you might fail a business, but you haven't failed business. It's only if you stop, quit. Okay, I'm going to go. That's it. I'm working for the government. Okay, that's failing business. But if you fail a business, you haven't failed a business. You just failed that one business.
Yeah, that's
and there's
right.
going to be plenty of other businesses you do.
And you can fail slowly as well. I heard someone say the other day, it's like people get comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of progress, right? And growth. And someone said, like, someone was explaining to someone else that they were really comfortable where they are. They don't have their goals set out for the next 5 to 10 years. They don't really have any aspirations. Nothing was really aligned, but they know they're really happy, but they also know that they might need to change that, because, you can't just stay in that one lane all the time, because if you're not growing, even if it's just by a little bit, or if you're staying in the one line, everything around you is going to grow, and at a very fast rate. And I think we're in that era right now of like fast change is happening. So if you're not doing something different, or at least keeping up with some form of change, everything around you is going to change faster than you.
Especially as a business owner. As a business owner, you need to constantly be in a state of evolution. You actually hope that not everybody you do want everyone around you in a state of evolution, but you don't want everyone around you wanting the same as what you want, because otherwise you end up with a team of people who all want to be you.
Yeah.
In the sense, like, so there are times when when it's good to have someone who is comfortable in a role. They love that role. They love the financial situation for them is fine. And yes, they do want to keep learning and developing in business, but they're happy in that role. Like, that's also a good thing. Like
100%. And like, fuck, entrepreneurship and being a business owner is certainly not geared for everybody. And
it sucks. It sucks 99% of the time.
100%. And it's now more accessible to start a business, but also the hardest it's ever been, I feel. With competition, with like the splintering of ways that you need to communicate to your customer, to all these hyper segmented communities going on, it is way harder to do business today, I feel, for the majority.
No, I agree.
You know, and I think even like the reason why I started it and why CUB was so appealing in the beginning was that I wanted that sense of freedom, that a 9-to-5 job, you know, wind the clock back 5 or 10 years, or 10 years, say, there wasn't that flexibility. There was 9 to 5 on the dot. Some jobs, you know, 8:30 to 6, and that was the standard. You had to stay longer. That was expected, and there wasn't any days off. There wasn't any work from home. And that sense of freedom for me in being able to like do things on my own accord was ecstasy. It wasn't like, I'm going to go and create a business because of the money. It was like, I want freedom in my life to be able to, you know, have a bit more of a blend approach rather than a 9 to 5 and switch off on the weekends. And I think that whole paradigm's shifted now because everyone has the flexibility, you know, so like the benefits of being a business owner isn't there as much as what it used to be.
I've never thought about that.
And it's also like more expensive to run a business. It's, you know, there's a lot more pressure on the expectations from staff. And I think there's so much more competition. And, you know, we've got AI now to battle with, which is a complete unknown to a lot of people. So yeah, it's not easy out there.
Actually, I mean, that you bring up a good point. I think the biggest impact COVID had on business has been in employee management. And to be honest, it's made it much harder. Like, it hasn't made it easier for businesses.
No.
That being said, for small businesses, it's a great thing because you don't need an office anymore.
Yeah, true.
Because you can have everyone works at home, and you're not like, remember before if you didn't have an office, you're not a real business. Yeah, now, if you don't have an office, it's pretty normal.
It's okay.
So like, I actually think we're going to end up in a situation where the small businesses, none of them will have offices. The big businesses, they'll have everyone working in the office full time.
Yeah.
And the medium-sized businesses are going to be the ones where they have like a combination of
hybrid.
Both. Yeah. That's my long term.
I want to get into, because I think like, again, a part of like how people interact with each other from a business setting, even just from a networking setting. You've done a phenomenal job, and I see a lot of like now inner circles going on. Like a lot of successful people who have either retired or sold their businesses are starting to create these like inner circles of maybe it's just sort of picking apart their own network and putting together high value people, but not even that. Doing it in a way where it creates experiences. And I know that's a big part. It's not just about these clubhouses and an online community. Talk us through some of the sort of experiences and events you guys do, because you guys are almost disguised as an event company sometimes.
We are. We're basically a giant event. We host at the moment we're hosting between 8 and 12 events a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we host a huge number of events, but we've got thousands of business owners that we need to engage on a monthly basis. And by engage, I mean put them in a situation where they can build valuable relationships with other accomplished business owners. So to do that, we literally need to run a huge number of events. In terms of experiences, we don't do anything like outrageous. Like, I don't think that's the key. For us, it was about providing a different experience as to what people would expect within the market. So your normal networking experience would be you walk into a big room full of people alone, you get to the door and you look around and there's people in little groups and talking. You don't know where to go, what to do. You're overcome with like fear and anxiety. And then eventually you find some other kind of person who feels awkward as well, and you kind of start talking to them and you're like, okay, I'm safe. I'm not alone anymore. I'm talking to someone. And then you realize, oh, I hate this person. And like, how do I get out? I don't know how to get away. And it's this, that's kind of networking.
Yeah.
Our networking So we looked at the experience people were having in the market, and we said, how do we literally just completely change the experience, the normal experience? How can we be different? And so we looked at that. And so when you walk in a CUB, or even BOA, right? BOA's free, and the BOA experience is amazing. But you walk in, as soon as you walk in, first of all, you're not meeting in some ugly hall. You're meeting in these beautiful clubhouses, like stunning clubhouses. As soon as you walk in, there's team members there greeting you. They know who you are. They welcome you. They tell you what's going on, what's expected. They then walk you over, introduce you. If you're new and you don't know anyone, they'll introduce you to someone. If you're existing, like someone like yourself, get in there. You know what you do. But if you're new, you go introduce someone. Then you're talking to that person, and very quickly you realize, wow, this person's actually an accomplished person. Like, thank God, we've filtered who's a member, so we know the members are accomplished people. So that now, wow, I'm not talking to someone I dread speaking to. I'm talking to someone that's really interesting, actually really impressive, that can teach me something. And then because it's not just this one-off event somewhere in some random hall, it's a club. I'm part of a club. People know each other, so all of a sudden the environment and the feeling within the networking event is not this awkward, here's business cards, sell. It's more collaborative community as opposed to self-interested transactions. And so in terms of experiences, I think it's about providing a unique experience to what's existing in the market. That could be with an online store, that could be with a marketing. I could tell, I actually haven't worked with that many marketing agencies, but I've worked with maybe two others other than you guys. And I can tell you there's a difference between experiences between marketing agencies. So finding out what's someone's experience signing up, and not just signing up, but also being like the relationship experience. Like, what's the industry standard? And then what's wrong with it? And then how do I provide a far better and unique experience? And we do cool shit too.
Yeah. What about the social events you do as well? Like, outside of the more sort of like informal, modern, clubhouse networking that you offer, the social stuff, like, Matt Moran had at Chiswick, I went there, had a good Q&A with Matt Moran, and that was an amazing sort of,
Matt hosted the members in his restaurant and gave him a tour of the gardens.
That was great.
Right now, as we speak, Jeff Fennick, world famous Australian boxer, probably the most famous Australian boxer of all time, is in the clubhouse doing a fireside chat with probably 60 to 80 members. Tomorrow, we've got BOA is hosting an event with some of the most famous entrepreneurs in the country. We've gotten 10 of the most famous entrepreneurs in the country: Sally Obermeter, Frank Grief, and Anita Saka, and many others. We're putting them on a bus. We've called it the BOA bus, and they're driving around the city, and they're picking up BOA users for one-on-one networking with their business idols. That was a competition you did recently, was it? Or yeah, it was just an event. Yeah. I mean, people had to apply to because we only there's 10 mentors on the bus, and we're doing 2 pickups, so there could only be 20 people, and we need people to we wanted people to apply to have the mentorship from the person that they know and love, like their idol. Mark Boris often hosts intimate discussions on the economy and what he believes is going to happen, and how we should and what we should be knowing about housing. We have the head economist for NAB come in and discuss, the impact of tariffs and what companies can be doing at this moment, and what NAB's projections on the interest rates are. We literally have an endless number of amazing things. But it's so diverse as well, and I think that goes back to like the diversity in environment. If you just had it in the one, like you said, the one hall all the time, that would be quite stale. But you're changing environments, you're thinking of different ways, We're known for our yacht days. Yacht days, I was going to say. They're the original experience. Surely there's got to be a time when you just buy a yacht. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we should actually. Well, we host a lot of those. Oh, mate, there's some fond experiences I've had on all the boats out there, and I think I wouldn't have access to even be on those yachts if it wasn't for it. That was our original networking service. For sure. Remember, before there was any networking service, we used to just get a boat and go sit in the harbour and talk to each other. The best ever. And even like all the restaurants that you pick and choose, some of the best in Sydney that you sort of were able to sort of go and experience and meet other people. So the diversity of it, I think, is
a big benefit there, because we've got short attention spans and there's so much at our fingertips now that unfortunately we need to get fed new experiences all the time.
Yeah, people get bored.
We get bored.
So I mean, every business needs to constantly think I always think we're half in business, half in entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's every business, because you need to give people a reason to keep noticing you. And like you moving into your new office,
I need to create a new experience for the team.
Yeah, but also wow, we've grown. We've launched 2 new businesses. We're now moved from Alexandria to Surrey Hills in this brand new office. It's entertaining to watch you. Yeah. Wow, I remember when it was just him working and he signed up to CUB and he used to just have his meetings in CUB. So you want to take your network, your clients, your LinkedIn connections, your BOA followers, you want to take them on your journey.
That's
you want to make it entertaining. Oh, look what Blake's doing.
And that journey is absolutely key. We're working with our M&A advisor, actually, when I spoke to you back in 2022, and I'm like, do you have, anyone who has, any experience around agency growth? And you told me to go speak to Paul Miller. Paul Miller put me on to David Sawicki, our current advisor. And he's been driving this ship and making us all aligned to this North Star that we're aiming towards, of this new evolution that we're going through. And it is literally around creating this new experience that we're all going to be able to then document and tell. And without then being able to go on that new journey, we can't tell a new story, and people feed into that. So it's almost like energy attracts energy, right? So yes, it's all going to be all good and well moving into a new office, getting new facilities, new technology, joining forces with other teams, but we need to be going out and telling that story. And I think that's a big part of today's economy as well, is whether it's the founder-led story or someone else telling that story for the brand, there needs to be that buy-in to that story and that journey.
We're all Kardashians. Everybody is in the entertainment business.
Now I get it.
Everybody is in the entertainment business.
It's so true. Yeah.
If you're boring, I don't care what you do. Yeah. You're boring. But when you're making it exciting for me to follow your journey, who does it so well? I know you're friends with her too, but Raquel Burris.
Oh my God, she's the best at it.
She's literally one of the best.
Her and Jane
ever.
Jane's amazing at it too. She's phenomenal.
Too. But Raquel is exceptional.
She's good
at it, and I think she's a great example. I'm very bad at it, actually. I think you're much better than me.
Oh, mate, I think you're good at it. Don't worry about that.
Raquel is. I actually think she should be the poster girl for taking people on your journey.
Yeah, fully. Yeah, no, she's got no fear, and there's that resilience and persistence, no ego.
Zero ego.
And it's about picking up the phone or approaching someone and knowing that you might get knocked back, but what if you don't? And it's you miss the shots you don't take. And she's
that's business.
That's resilience. The number one key thing I think with driving success and seeing successful other people like Raquel is the level of the persistence that they've got, to never give up.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle commitment.
Yeah.
If you start a business, or it's not even start a business. It's if you start business, because that business might not work, but you could do another one. It's if you start business, you need to understand that you're committing to a lifestyle. And that lifestyle has 99%, maybe not 99%, let's say 90% horrible stuff. Not horrible, 90% difficult stuff. But the 10% is amazing. Do you know what I mean? And trust me, that 10% is
that's why we do it.
Yeah. And the longer you do it, the lower the 90% comes, and the bigger the amazing
that's
part
the drive.
goes.
That's the dopamine fix.
And eventually you're 50-50, and if it goes past 50, you're screwed, because then you're too happy. You'll end up being an alcoholic or something.
The universe will tear you back down to reality. Look, I think you've created a foundation where a lot of people can go into such a network, and there's a 1 degree separation, and that's how I now use my own network. And if I don't have someone in my network, I feed into CUB's network to be able to go, hey, I need someone in branding space, or I need someone who can do shareholder agreements, or I need someone who's done it before. I need to ask questions, whatever it is. There's that 1 degree separation, and you hit the nail on the head before. It's just about having that facility for people to be able to feel comfortable in feeding into when necessary. Now, I'm sure there's something that you feed into, because you need to continue to drive that North Star for the whole organization. Who are the people that you lean into?
I've got my friends from CUB.
Yeah, okay.
I have, I built my network through CUB the same way that that you did and everyone else did. I've just by running CUB, I've built friendships with people like you, Jeremy Cabral, Chris King, Jane Liu.
Yeah.
Like, these people, like Jane and me, even still, and Jen George, we collaborate a lot even today.
All the
Like we do a lot with BOA together, and Jeremy is now advising me on technology. He's one of the most successful technology entrepreneurs in the country. He advises me on technology now, which I've never, I'm technology dyslexic and dyslexic, but it's definitely technology dyslexic.
Yeah, you've
Jeremy
got an app.
helps me with, I've got an app now, and Jeremy helps me with that.
Yeah.
Chris King is a tremendous amount of help for me. So he owns Splend, which is he's probably the smartest person I know, to be honest. But and the hardest working.
I'll have to get
much
Chris on
smarter
one.
and
I
harder
want to get
working
Chris
than
on
me.
one day. Got to unpack his story.
Yeah. No, he's too hard. You can't even get him.
Yeah, really?
I couldn't even get him.
Oh, God.
He didn't come on my podcast. Bloody prick. But still best person in the world.
Yeah. Shout out, Chris.
My point is, sorry, Chris. I mean, you. How much money are you making us? I shouldn't say how much money you're making us. How many
results we're providing
How many new
for you.
amazing members are you finding us now? And how much mentorship have you given me over the years? Even with marketing, when I called you and asked you about marketing, but you weren't even doing our marketing. These are real relationships. They're not relationships. They're friendships that have formed with others on the same journey as me that are so valuable to me on a personal and on a professional basis. And that's what CUB is. And that's what all my businesses are. They give people, they put people in a situation, in a room where they can meet people that they can build genuine relationships with that are also in business.
And that just comes down to the fact that you've created an authentic business and it's come from yourself and people can obviously see, they can read between the lines. I think consumers are way more sophisticated today than they've ever been, and I think if you're not authentic, same as Raquel, Jane, Chris, all these people you mentioned, they've got this authentic way of doing business and they've got trust built in their own organization and their customer base, and I think without that, forget it. People are just going to catch on to you very quickly. Yeah.
And there's a lot of fake people these days because people just say what they think. They say what they think people want them to say, and
100%.
It's not. You got to be a good person. Honestly, it doesn't matter who you are. Just be a good person. Be nice to people.
Yeah.
You know what I learned from Boris, and it's probably one of the best lessons I've ever learned, is that guy takes time with everybody that has an interaction with him. He makes anybody that comes up to him on the street or that messages him or that he meets at CUB, he makes them feel special. He's so kind. He never has an ego. And
he doesn't need to give his time.
He leaves a trail of people feeling special behind him wherever he goes.
That's amazing.
And trust me, if he was to ever run for Prime Minister or ever do if you ever had to vote for someone, you vote for that guy because he's such a good person.
Has he ever thought about it? I reckon he'd
I don't think he's...
No appetite for it.
I don't think so. But he's the guy... He's busy enough. I don't think he needs...
He's the Australian Joe Rogan, isn't he, when he comes to podcasts?
Mate, what about that? He literally became Australia's biggest podcaster as a side gig. In addition to running multiple large companies, obviously he's got big property portfolios.
He finds the time.
He's got his own farm operating with his own cattle and things. And then he on the side, he becomes the biggest podcaster in the country. This guy's an animal. And he's 70.
He's a
68
machine.
or
Yeah, to continue to find different gears at that age
right.
when you could easily just be slowing down.
And he does jiu-jitsu.
Well, insane. Yeah.
And he's learning jiu-jitsu.
Insane.
He's crazy.
To be around that, like that's a bloody...
He's the best. Honestly, I love that guy.
Mate, it's phenomenal to see, and I think the fact that he's with you on BOA and CUB is also testament to the fact that he believes in the whole story and journey that you're building too.
Yeah. People always ask, like, how do you find a mentor? It's one of the big things on BOA, like, how do I find a mentor? And I always say, before you even start looking for a mentor, you need to prove that you're someone worth mentoring. Because Mark didn't get involved with me and CUB.
You don't want to waste someone's time either.
Well, no, they need to see you and be like, I see myself in that person.
Yeah.
And if you have done nothing and they're a successful person, they're not going to see themselves in you. But if you get to a stage where they're like, wow, I actually respect what you've done. Yeah, you can still be very early on, but what you've done is actually quite difficult. But you're a good person and you're not asking me for something. You're actually just wanting to pick my brain about saying, don't ask people for money. Everyone with money always gets asked for money. Just don't ask them for money, and you're 90% of the way there. But if you show that you're someone worth mentoring, then you will find a mentor.
For sure. Yeah. And it's 100%. It's having the right intention, the right questions, and knowing who you need to align yourself with. And it's like having the support network. It doesn't necessarily need to be in business. It might be in another area that you need fixing first. There's so many different styles of mentors out there, and like you said, everyone's sort of dependent on others, and hence why it's important to feed into others. Now you're tapped into a lot of businesses, a lot of industries. You see what goes on both from an SME point of view all the way through to, more sort of medium to larger enterprises. What do you feel the sentiment is at the moment currently with businesses in Australia?
No, it's not good. It's not good. What happened was, through COVID, people cut a lot of costs, and they also made a lot of money because government was printing money and throwing it into the economy. So through the COVID years, people actually were in financially good situations. Then what happened was people started to invest into their business. So they'd hire staff, they'd get an office, so they increased their fixed costs. And then and then all of a sudden, the RBA skyrockets the interest rates in comparison to where they were, which was pretty much at the bottom, which caused an instant drop in revenue for literally every business. And that's what people were experiencing. That's what businesses were experiencing last year. So last year, so many businesses were saying to me, I'm watching my money go down every month. So now this year, the smart businesses anyway, they have readjusted their fixed costs, and they're adjusted. So their money may not be going down, but there's a lot of factors at the moment contributing to money not moving. For example, like what are the effects of the tariffs is a big one. Is there going to be a World War III? This is a big one. The current Australian election happening in May. No one likes to move money before an election for some, I don't know why, but for some reason they don't. And for business people, they've got to be concerned at who wins the election, because if one party wins, well, fuck, it's going to be even harder for business, and it's already hard for us right now. And then in addition to that, businesses aren't having the revenue that their money's moving slower. So if I don't get money from you, I can't give money to her. So
domino effect.
Yeah, exactly. So it is tough right now, but I think the next 3 years are going to be good. I just think this start of this year, there's a lot of shaking, and I think whenever there's change, things do pause. But then once people are used to the change,
there's recorrection.
And I think we are going to have a good 3 years.
Theo said the same thing when he came on.
Chambers.
When he came on a couple of years, legend. Yeah, when he came on recently, and with the interest rates.
You had him before me as a guest on here?
Unfortunately.
Oh, we're going to have to rethink this whole relationship.
Oh, mate, we'll get you in again. Don't worry. Yeah. You'll be the first where I do 2 episodes with.
I'm going to delete his episode on my podcast.
But yeah, he said the same thing, that this is the new norm, and that people are having to recorrect the way that they're living. And I think that's a big lesson for all of us moving forward, is that this is going to be the new standard for a while. Until that sort of threshold gets broken.
Anyone that's had a family business or knows a long business knows that business can survive anything.
For sure.
So, and there's a lot of good things to bad things happening. Like when there's bad things happen, a lot of businesses shut. Then when good things happen, you're the only business open, and you got a lot more market share, and you can charge a lot more money, and you make a lot more money. Also in the bad times, you get a lot better at what you do. You get more efficient as a business. You people work harder. You do things. So not all times in business are for making money.
No.
Sometimes in business are for improving operationally as a business and as a business owner. And right now may be one of those times, but I actually think the second half of the year is going to be a great time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, very good point. Now, before we finish up, because I know we can talk all day every time I speak with you.
Surely we're out of time.
Yeah, almost.
We're way over. Are we over? Oh, we're good? Fuck, we've been talking for ages. Oh, yeah, this is longer than my podcast.
Mate, I reckon we can go 3 hours, do a Joe Rogan podcast one day.
We should have a drink.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do a 3 hours with some whiskey and see where things take us.
Oh no, I'd be cancelled.
Yeah. We both would. Yeah. But mate, it'd be amiss of me to ask about family life. You're now a dad, and how it's all going, and how that transition's been, and how you're juggling it all.
Well, I got a lot more respect for mums, yeah, and my mum in particular, and my wife, because that is like being a mum, or the person who's responsible for the baby anyway, is by far the hardest job in the world. It is so much hard. I trust me, I'm happy to go to work. Like, it is hard. I love my son, and he is so cute, and it's amazing to be a dad. But it is nowhere near as easy as going to work. So, like, I've got a tremendous amount of respect for like, what my wife is doing, and just so much love for her and Nathaniel, my son. And it is hard. I mean, like, I interviewed a CUB member on my podcast earlier today, named Sophia, who full-time mum and full-time business owner. And I actually said to her, I was like, I don't even, like, you're literally a superhero.
How the fuck do you do it?
Yeah, you're actually a superhero. Yeah. Like, I couldn't, no way, I'd be dead. So it's good. It is hard. Like, I don't care what anyone says. No one tells you that. They're like, it's amazing. You love it. Yeah. And then you get there, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, my whole world changed. Like, I can't go to the toilet anymore because where do I put the baby if I want to pee? Like, you got to pee holding him like this. Like, everything changes. Yeah. But more than just how you pee. But it's good. I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful to just have a healthy, happy family.
Right, I'm good to hear. Well, I guess we'll have to leave it there, and I'm looking forward to the next episode we do. I'm sure we'll continue to run these over. But mate, just I want to say thanks for everything you've done. It's amazing to see your journey, to be part of it, to continue to sort of help you grow. 10 solid years of what you've built as, Australia's best networking business sort of facilities and network. And I'm looking forward to the next 10 years, and here's to you, mate.
So am I. Here's to another 10 years of friendship and helping each other on the journey.
Absolutely, mate. I appreciate it. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.